Let's put the spotlight on Sun Pharma and let one come on board. CS Muralidharan, who is the CFO of Sun Pharma, joining us on the show right now. Very good afternoon and thank you so much for your time. And firstly, on your numbers, we have witnessed a higher tax and the increase in the exceptional loss belief that have led to the reduction in your profits. Can you explain why is this increase there, and can we see a similar level of the taxes going ahead?
So as we stated on the call, the tax rates have become higher on account of exhaustion of certain operating losses which we had earlier. And as we have guided yesterday, we expect the tax rates to go up in the coming quarters.
Hi, Mr. Muralidharan. This is Kanishka also joining in. Speaking of your results, now Revlimid sales, they were down and have impacted your US sales overall. Now, January 2026 is the date when the settlement period ends for this one. So how are you intending to fill the gap?
See, however, we have said yesterday that the Revlimid sales for the quarter was very small, somewhat in similar line to what we had in Q3.
But along with that, let's touch upon your US markets. What kind of a competition is the company facing in the US generic markets, and what will be the outlook regarding this? Because US is the place wherein a lot of uncertainty around the tariff is also prevailing.
So US generic pricing environment continues to be competitive, and it's also quite product specific. The government there is also trying to control drug prices through actions like Inflation Reduction Act and the PBM reforms. However, if you see that our overall sales in the US for Q4 was approximately $464 million over Q4 last year, while there was some pressure in generics, but our specialty business continued to grow.
All right, Mr. Muralidharan, let's also shift focus to your margins. Now, your firm has delivered a 28% margin in FY25. Now, given the new launches and investments that you all are making, will the company maintain margins at these levels?
So, we are not giving any specific guidance on margins. We will continue to invest in R&D to build a strong product portfolio. At the same time, keep a focus on cost efficiencies and operation efficiencies to remain competitive and aim for improving profitability. Having said that, we also shared that approximately $100 billion we will be spending on the 2 new specialty product launches in US. And to that extent, I think that number needs to be factored in your modeling.
All right, Mr. Muralidharan, if I look at your R&D expense, that stands at 6.4% of the total revenue for the quarter gone by. But in terms of the guidance, believe that it stands at 6 to 8%. What explains this wide range of guidance?
As shared in our PR yesterday on the product pipeline data, we expect our continued clinical trials on the pipeline products, which we expect to complete in the current fiscal FY26, and thereby keeping in those, we have given the guidance of 6 to 8%.
Right. Now, talking about your India strategy, this company intends to grow better than the market in India. What will be the strategy for the same? What will drive growth for you?
So, India formulation business, our growth is broad-based. All our therapists are doing well. Our objective always has been to grow in line or above the market growth. Our performance in the market is higher, compared to market is higher, and it's important to note that our growth is also driven by volumes and new launches.
All right, Mr. Muralidharan, now let's touch upon Lexelvi, because the company intends to launch Lexelvi in the Q2 of FY26, but the litigation is still going on. How much is the risk of the damages for this particular launch, and what are you really penciling in terms of this?
So we are not. We have said yesterday in our call that we are launching at risk. I don't think it will be appropriate to quantify any numbers towards that.
Okay. Let's also talk about your guidance for the top line then. It is in the mid-high to single-digit range. So what kind of global uncertainty is the company penciling in to make up for these numbers?
See, our guidance given of mid to high single-digit considers all the factors which we mentioned in terms of certain global uncertainties. Keeping that in mind, we have given the guidance. Based on that, let's see in terms of how we will perform. And however, it's important to note that Our key business like India, global specialty business and emerging markets have been well positioned to grow.
And also, Mr. Muralidharan, what is the update on Mohali as well as Dadra and Halol units? Because for Halol, the US FDA has been requested to conduct the audit. Can you tell us more on this? Where are we actually in terms of these inspections?
No, I think what we have stated is that we have requested US FDA for an inspection of our only Halol facility. As far as Mohali and Dadra, we mentioned that we are working on the remediation process, and as and when completed, we will inform the agency.
All right, but Mr. Muralidharan, what is the timeline for resolution? Can you help us with any timeline on the same?
We will not be able to give any timeline at this point of time.
All right, no worries. Mr. Muralidharan, with this, we let you go on that. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us.